Apparently, as many as 9 ships have made it through the Strait of Hormuz unmolested by our so-called blockade. Pretty crazy, huh?
Starry. This is a tanker said to be carrying methanol. It started moving from Sharjah here in the UAE. Remember, a lot of these vessels turn off the AIS transponders, so you don't really know the origin of which port that they moved from. Starting to move towards Keshem and Larak Islands, then, starts aborting mission, moves back, and then starts to take that route once again, passing through the strait in the early hours of this morning. Now, this is a tanker that has been sanctioned since March 2023 by the U.S. Treasury Department because it has links to Iran. Now, from what we understand from experts, this tanker was able to move through completely unfazed by the U.S.
The blockade is blocking the Gulf of Oman, not the strait itself. The ship in question actually had to U-turn when it got to the Gulf of Oman. Is that true? Because my understanding was that multiple ships have gotten like all the way through. Am I incorrect on that? That they've gotten through the U.S. blockade? It's not like the U.S. blockade is that substantial. We have, what, a couple of those liturgical, I don't know what the word is, amphibious landing craft and a few destroyers. It's not like we have a significant naval presence right over there. You are correct, Vash. Okay, so they are, in fact, just moving through the blockade. They don't care. More than 20 commercial ships have transited the Strait of Hormuz in the past 24 hours. Yeah, but are they going past the U.S. blockade, or are they just going through the strait? Are they like now waiting at the blockade? Maritime tracker. Yeah, the U.S. blockade is supposed to be over here, right? Like in this area? So are these ships right here waiting for permission to get through? Littoral, not liturgical, thank you. They may as well be liturgical, since their enforcement of a naval blockade is due to thoughts and prayers. Yeah, pretty much. That's the Gulf of Oman. No, I know that's the Gulf of Oman, but I'm wondering, have they been stopped here? They're further south?
A naval blockade, so we don't know what exactly transpired and how the United States is enforcing this blockade. But this is really interesting to see this.
Every time I Google something on the conflict in the Middle East, I get a peek into how the other side views the world. Look at this, man. How the U.S. Navy is going to block the entire Strait of Hormuz from animated military. We have the AI thumb, where we've locked the strait. And look at that.
The United States Navy just did something it has not done on this scale since the Cold War. It put a chokehold on an entire country using warships. Not an airstrike, not a bombing run. A full maritime blockade. As of 10 in the morning Eastern time on Monday...
Is the whole thing AI story time? It is! That's crazy.
No ship enters or leaves Iranian ports. No tanker carrying Iranian oil reaches its buyer.
Is that Biden?
No vessel that paid Iran's cryptocurrency toll is safe on open international waters. 2 aircraft carrier strike groups.
What?
The USS Gerald R. Ford, the USS Abraham Lincoln.
What are they doing there?
Each one is surrounded by its own pack of destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and support vessels. Roughly 60 warships in total. More firepower concentrated in a single stretch of ocean than most countries have in their entire military. It is not bombing. It is the operation by an order of magnitude. Drones at the last second, and torpedoes. From their original position. Climb the ladder and take control of means. Iran.
Am I wrong to think that it would actually take more effort to AI generate the video for 18 minutes than it would be to just get AI to collage a bunch of images? I feel this feels like a disproportionately high effort way of making slop.
Planners. The threats are rhetoric. The blockade is reality. That gap between what Iran says and what Iran can actually do is the...
It's probably their gimmick or whatever. I mean, animated military. 3K subscribe. Oh, fuck. No! I gave them a view on their... Oh, God. I thought it was an established channel. No. Now I'm I platformed them.
This tanker that has links to Iran, that has been sanctioned by the United States, being able to move through the Strait of Hormuz at this time. A lot of the shippers are very reticent to even make the voyage. Number one, they're worried about having to coordinate directly with the Iranians, and then number two, what will they face when they hit the U.S. naval blockade? A lot of the shippers believe that this is a double dilemma in terms of negotiating with both sides. From what we know right right now that the United States is doing this naval blockade to perhaps start negotiations, to force Iran to the negotiating table. You'll remember that a lot of the revenues that Iran is getting right now at the start of this war had to do with the toll that they were charging the shippers, Rosemary, and then importantly, the Iranian oil that was being sold. And if you look at some of the tanker traffic since the start of the war, it has been dominated by Iranian-linked vessels and also vessels that are friendly to Iran. So the United States and President...
Does anyone have a source talking about whether or not these ships have actually made it through the U.S. blockade or merely through the Strait? If they're just moving through the Strait, all that means is that these ships feel confident that Iran's not going to stop them. Does anyone have any specific info on that? Because I'm seeing a lot about the Strait, and I'm not seeing a lot about the U.S. blockade. I would love some info on that. Ships turned around? 6 ships. But it said about 20 ships have made it through the Strait. Are some going through? No ships have made it past a U.S. naval blockade, as Iran's ports and coastal areas, of Iran's ports and coastal areas, and 6 merchant ships have followed orders to turn back, the U.S. military said in Tuesday. So nobody has actually run the Strait yet. Or sorry, nobody has run the blockade yet. The blockade's further out. No, I know that, but nobody has actually run the blockade yet. Newsweek is saying multiple ships have passed through? 10 a.m. ET on Monday, U.S. Navy began its blockade of Iranian ports aimed at the Iranian tankers, other Iran-friendly ships. At least 7 ships have made it through, including 4 tankers linked to Iran. The blockade is probably not even a real thing. No, I understand. Well, it's not an effective blockade if people are ignoring it. Okay, thank you for... I was not confused on this point. I have, in my opinion, demonstrated that I understand that this is where the Strait of Hormuz is, and that the U.S. blockade is further south. I'm not really talking about the specific... Thank you. But I'm more talking about, like, read previous message for context. Okay, I will. Which previous message, man? The blockade is blocking the Gulf of Oman, not the Strait itself. The ship in question had a U-turn when it hit... No, I already read that. The physical blockades in the Gulf of Oman. U.S. said they're blockading Israeli ports, not the Strait, but Iranian ports are still being operated. Sorry, Iranian ports. And they're still being operated. The U.S. can't really enforce the port blockade because there's no U.S. ships in the Persian Gulf side. Okay, so you're saying that effectively the only Iranian ports that are being actually blockaded are here? That's clearly not true, because if that was the case, the United States would not be telling ships to move back if they were from in the Gulf. Basically, media is getting confused. Are they? Because here it's saying that the blockade isn't working. Fuck, you're right. They are confused. One was a Chinese-owned vessel sanctioned by the U.S. in 2023 for carrying Iranian oil. That was spotted on the other side of the Strait. But making it past the Strait doesn't mean you've run the blockade. God damn it. But they call it the blockade. This is the government's fault. The Trump administration has been so unclear about what it is they're doing. Ugh. First tanker makes it out of Hormuz amid U.S. blockade as a Chinese ship. It's incredible. Technically, the blockade hasn't failed yet, but the media is reporting on it as though it is because Trump said they were blockading the Strait, not the Gulf. It's so dumb. Like, the Trump administration's communicated their intent so badly that people think they're losing when they're actually not. Like, for once, the blockade hasn't been run yet. I feel woozy. This also sets Trump up to say the media is lying. Yeah, but that would imply that this is intentional and not just the byproduct of jaw-dropping retardation on everybody's side. But yes. Like, they did say they were blockading the Strait of Hormuz, so technically, if you go by Trump's word... Alright, well, I guess the current consensus right now is that nobody's made it through the U.S. blockade, which is interesting. A little bit concerning, honestly, because if somebody had made it through the U.S. blockade, it would be an indicator that, you know, it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, it would be an indication that like so many other things that Trump has suggested, it's paper tiger, it doesn't mean anything, people will immediately ignore it. But if people are respecting it, it means that eventually somebody's going to have to disrespect it. It means that China's not getting their oil. I don't know. It just makes me wonder what happens when the first China-aligned ship actually tries to run it, you know? The United States could potentially risk an international incident, like a pretty bad one, by trying to board, you know, a China-aligned tanker. Are they blockading all ships or just those with Iranian oil? Well, Iran is only allowing the ships they want to go through. So you have to make it through Iran first. And now there's America, and America is blocking, I assume, only the Iran-lined ones, but those are the only ones getting through anyway. So